I'm being honest, some of these Don King cards are hit or miss for me. But this one, I'm pretty excited about. Like, you've got you against Cassius, who I've liked for a while, back when he was with Main Events, and I watched him closely. And, of course, you've got Adrian Broner and Blair Cobbs on that card as well. And I actually want to ask you, because I was watching the press conference, and I'm watching you sit there while Broner is kind of going off on this tangent. You're just looking down your phone, man. Like, you're just trying to stay the hell out of whatever is going on there. What was going through your mind while Adrian was going off?
Man, well, one thing was, he was trying to say that he wasn't, upset about it, but he looked really upset to me. He looked like he did look like he was on weight. So his excuse was seemed to be, on par with what he was saying. But it's really no excuse for being late. But I just think it was a little bit treacherous, a little bit harsh for the words he was using. I think that Blair is just trying to have fun and sell the fight, and Adrian Bronner was a little upset about what was going on. I'm still, selling the fight and bringing eyes to the. Obviously, he's Adrian Bronner. He brings eyes to it. But I just think he was. It seemed like he got under his skin about a little bit. Just the words that he used and the words that he chose to, say on camera. So, yeah, I kind of was like, it was a little harsh. I wouldn't really speak like that in front of the camera like that. Nobody could really get me that angry. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, I can't remember hearing someone have their life threatened at a press conference. That was a new one for me. In the sport of boxing, that's saying something. If it's a new one,
yeah, exactly. But I think he's going to be ready. He had a great camp. He was with some people who really cared about him. You know what I'm saying? His circle, and he definitely seems like this is really a do or die situation. So I think that he's going to step up for sure.
So you're getting a great opportunity, or an opportunity you've earned over the last couple of years. But going back to the Jerry Forrest fight, when you had that draw, it was really hard for you to get a fight. And you and I have talked at times over the years. It always kind of perplexed me why it was so difficult for you, an American Olympian with only one loss on his resume, to get a fight. What have these last kind of couple of years been like in the aftermath of that Forrest fight?
Yeah, man, it's been hard. It hasn't been easy. My faith has been tested, and my resilience has been tested. But I always seem to pull through. I've always tried to do my best in anything and everything that I do. But yeah, it hasn't been easy. I competed. I was trying to compete with Martin Bacoli and was Huey Fury on Sky, and they just weren't able to make it happen. I think they really seen how hard it was for me to also get a fight, because any promotion that I've been to, it's been very difficult. They've always had to do extra things, and I think that that was why I was let go originally from Matchroom. That it was hard to make these deals. It was hard to get these fights and let them actually line up. They don't really want to get in the ring with me. So I've always needed somebody to push me and put the money and put the energy behind me. And I fell short. I've been falling short with that in my career. So it really has nothing to do with the boxing, but just the boxing business. And which is majority of the boxing nowadays.
Yeah, because you're not a boring fighter. Like, your fights are entertaining. Like,
Right.
from cruiserweight to heavyweight, it just always surprised. Like, could you put your finger on why these promoters were not looking to do business with you?
I just think that it has a lot to do with not wanting to do anything different from their farming system on how they collect and how they make money. When I jump in there, unless they're totally all in they couldn't be, Matchroom couldn't be all in with me because they already had a great superstar gold medalist. And, so these guys like that, Al Heyman, had tons of different fighters and chose, choose who they choose. And, so I just think that, they see me as, a hard person to do business. They always try to say that I'm difficult when it comes to business, but really it's difficult to find me fights and difficult to make the fights. I've always, obviously I want to get paid righteously, but I've always even said it's really not about the money. I'd rather perform and have. I would more negotiate on fireworks or laser show or more time on the interest before I argue about money. So I've always tried to make it very easy for the promoters, but I think that is just very difficult unless they're all in with Michael Hunter, and I think they just kind of tiptoe their way in. Everything's about social media now, so I'm not the biggest social media star, so that might be another add-on to it. So I just think that they think it's a gamble in a sense.
Was there ever a point in the last few years where you just thought it wasn't going to happen, that you weren't going to get this kind of opportunity?
No, no. As a young person, I just knew that I always thought I had to just be the best, and that if I could just be the best fighter, then everything else would fall in place. Now, I feel like I was a little bit wrong about that, but I never thought that I would not get a chance. I just felt like at some point, as long as I stay to the right and stay perseverance, that my shot will come. As long as I'm ready for it. And I feel like I've always had the hardest battles. Anytime that I'm in a fight, I always have to do the most. Like the Povetkin fight, it wasn't good enough for me to get the draw. Obviously, I had to get I had to win by knockout pretty much. And anytime even with the Piccoli fight, I went in there knowing that even though I beat him on every round from post to post, I knew if I didn't stop him that I was going to get an L that night, and I wouldn't have been upset. And so anytime that you ever see me, have some hard situations, Usyk fight, I never was upset about the outcome because it is what it is. I know that I have those are my opportunities. You know what I'm saying? I have to totally outclass and masterclass. And my learning curve has been a little different from being on that B side and not having so much support. So then somebody like an Usyk, he hasn't had the easiest route, but he definitely has a lot of people behind him. His mentor, Vladimir and Vitaly. Right out the gate. And, they had people that were there to guide them. You know what I'm saying? I've been kind of fell by the wayside on a sense and, try to stay active and continue. And, it's really unfortunate that I haven't had those great opportunities to keep forward.
Which, again, has always confused me because in America, you want heavyweights. You want successful heavyweights. We're watching Jared Anderson get the backing of Top Rank right now as he's being kind of led up the ranks. It always befuddled me that you weren't getting that kind of interest. People kind of snickered, I think, a little bit when you came back at the end of last year, the level of competition. You came back again early this year, the level of competition. I remember thinking, Mike, that it was really smart, in part because I remember I watched Joseph Parker beat Deontay Wilder last year. And Joseph Parker fought a whole bunch of low-level fights before he took on, some of the bigger names that eventually Deontay Wilder. And he used those fights to sharpen his edge, to get better, to get his rhythm back. Have these last two fights for you helped you get some of that rhythm back?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we were training for the Huey Fury fight, and it fell through a few times. So yeah, I definitely me just getting back in the ring and actually having that live experience definitely gave me an edge, getting these fights and stuff like that. I've always tried to do the best I can to stay busy, no matter who manages, what promoter or whatever. I've always tried to stay and try to get the fights. It doesn't matter really who it is, but those were the best fights I could get at the time. And I'm a fighter by nature, so that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing this since I was a young kid, and when my dad was boxing. So I started very early, and I've been in this game for a long time. And it's like I said, it's really unfortunate. I'm the baddest man on the planet and can compete with anybody, and that's bar none. There's no questions asked about it. And come Friday, we'll see it again.
You've got a good fight again coming in front of you with Cassius Chaney, who I've liked a lot over the years. What kind of fight are you expecting here? We've seen Cassius show some power in the past. I was at the fight when he knocked that guy out of the ring a few years ago. What kind of fight are you expecting this weekend?
Well, he's a big boy. He's much bigger than me, which is nothing new. He's big and strong. He has a fairly good technique. He's very basic. But being very, very basic doesn't mean you do the basics super well, So I think that it's going to be slightly technical, but with me, obviously, with my tenacity, I think that he's going to have a little problem with that. And I think that I get him out of there at some point.
It feels like a lifetime ago that you fought Oleksandr Usyk. In a way, it was. You're both cruiserweights at that time, different fighters at that time. But I'm wondering, kind of, what were you thinking when you watched a guy that you were competitive with back in 2017 go on and beat Tyson Fury for the undisputed championship?
Well, I was proud of him. It's not easy to get all these things done, and I know he's had to still be disciplined and with all the gypsy tactics that he used, postponing these fights and making him be in camp for a long time. Sometimes you could overtrain, and I think that it was he's just a very disciplined and due diligent guy. So I have to tip my hat off to Usyk. And I called the fight. I knew that was going to happen. Tyson Fury's been spotty over the years, and when you have these type of backing, they tend to have easier fights and all that. And, a lot of these fighters, they're losing now, getting knocked out, stopped over here or stopped over there. And I just kind of sucks because I've been watching these and I know, what I'm capable of. So it kind of irks me a little bit because I know I could be in there with any of those guys and stop them and make something happen with myself. So like I said, I have to tip my hat off to Usyk. It does suck. That's competitively, that's the only fight I really want. Is the Usyk fight, and I think that the fans would love to see it and need to see it to actually see what Usyk really has. He hasn't really been totally tested. I think that Tyson Fury, obviously being who he is, and having being the A side and having all the clout and stuff like that, that's also a hard task to get rid of. But if this was something like the UFC and we all had to compete with each other very early, I don't think you would see Usyk. I don't think you would see Tyson Fury much. And all these other guys, Deontay Wilder and all these other guys would have fell off a long time ago. So I just have to continue to stay due diligent, and hopefully I can get these fights, because most of this boxing is business and not really about fighting. So once I get in the ring with these guys, you'll see you see me reign.
You've got Usyk tied up with Fury. They're going to fight again in December. AJ is going to fight probably Daniel Dubois in September. But do you believe that this fight and a win in it will springboard you into those types of fights in either late this year or early next year?
I hope so. It's such a business, we really never know, but definitely will put me in a good position to be talked about. And, for my hand to be up there. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it has been like that in the future, but only from inactivity. You know that I've been gone and people have stopped talking about me, but the skills still remain. So you know, I'm hoping for a springboard for sure. I think that DK is going to do his job and to get me where I need to be. I think he wants the belts, especially that WBA belt, just as bad as I do. And I think he's going to work hard for me to get it. You know, as long as he keeps putting those guys in front of me, I'm going to knock him down.
You touched on this briefly, but a rematch with Usyk, how bad do you want it? And how confident are you that a rematch would be different?
Definitely would be different. You know, I've always said this. If you look at the tail of the tape, you could see the difference. You know, I didn't rehydrate. I was lower in the night of the fight than the weigh-ins. So just that alone, it would be much different. You know, we're heavyweights now. We don't have to make a weight. You know, we're both mature and experienced. So I think that it would be a great fight and a great way to test each other's skills.
Well, I'm excited for this fight, Mike. I think you and Cassius Chaney is going to be a great fight on Friday in South Florida live on pay-per-view, man. Good luck, and it's good to have you back, and I hope to see you in bigger fights after this one.
Likewise. Thank you, Chris Mannix, for having me. I really appreciate it.